Hello and welcome. It is our pleasure to be here today. Kristen and I are recording today another one of our fantastic podcast slash conversation. And in a world where traditional paths to success feel out of sync with the heart, we are creating our own. Join us as we navigate the twists and turns of choosing an authentic life and businesses. We share our personal challenges, we celebrate breakthroughs, and we explore the unfiltered realities of life. Yes, yes. So, welcome, welcome. I am so pleased to be here with you again today. And let me just take a few seconds to welcome my beautiful host. Hello, Kristen. Well, not my host, my co host. I'm so sorry. Hello, Kristen.
Hello. Happy Wednesday.
Yes, exactly. How are you doing? We were talking about, I saw you appear in my on my computer. Face, face, face. And I said, "Well, you look very. Did you just? You look different. Did you do this all for me?" And then you shared, "Well, the only thing I changed was my earrings." And there is something you wanted to share about this. So tell me, tell me, tell me, tell me.
Yeah, so I just decided that it goes into all the conversations we've been having, and
Mhm.
they've been unfolding for me in my life. But I decided I have all this really nice jewelry that I never wear,
Yeah.
and um, and I like it. I just don't wear it. It's like, and I have all these clothes that I really like, and I don't wear. So fuck it. I'm just gonna wear them around the house.
Exactly. If you
I
wait,
might, I
yeah.
might be sweats and earrings, but hey.
Well, you don't have to wait for the special occasion. The special occasion is you are here, and you woke up, and as you woke up, that means there is more expansion for your soul and your human to go into. So let's do it while we look dashing. Yeah, exactly. Perfect. So for the people listening on Spotify, we are both just doing fancy
Flipping
movements
our hair.
with our hair. Yeah. So this is it's nice how it's been for me. It's been also cooking a lot. All the two last conversations that we had about the comfort zone and about the group dynamics and that kind of thing. So tell me more. So you are getting out of your comfort zone by putting on earrings, a very simple act, but profound actually.
Not out of my comfort zone, but not in my typical behavior when I'm in the US.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Outside of the US, yes. Inside the US, no. But oh, outside my comfort zone, yeah, things have been cooking.
Mm-hmm.
And um it's been like each conversation is has been exactly what I've been processing. And it's the whole it's like the accumulation is just building,
Mm-hmm.
um, which is beautiful, but is also can be emotional. um, so I was on a call earlier, and we were sharing like what are we going through and like what's coming up for us in our reality. And the biggest thing is in my like I'm in this, I'll call it a crossroads, which it sounds weird, but
Mm-hmm.
um, where everything, how I do everything no longer works. And
Yes.
because I'm not going for an ordinary life, I'm
Mhm.
going for an extraordinary life. I'm going for like an
I
orgasmic life, a fun life, like a vibrant life. And I've been pulling these systems and these pattern. They're not, they're just the way I've done life
Mhm.
along with me, and they've all worked. Even like through my, they've shifted and changed over time
Mhm.
a lot. And then now I feel like I'm at that wall where, like, to get over that wall, I gotta leave all of that. And it's been coming up a lot for me in my business. It's been coming up everywhere. But I think a good way to, like, an easy way to explain it is there's this feeling of, and we've talked about this, like, but I don't know what that looks like.
Mhm.
It, like, for me, it's like the idea of like a, like like, or that's not even the right way to look, because I can see what it looks like.
Yeah.
So this idea, like, an easy way to look at it is with relationships, right? I've been through a slew. Well, that sounds like I've been dating a million people, which I haven't. But like, every
Few.
relationship
A
I've
few.
had has been dysfunctional, which is why I, like, a while ago, I haven't dated someone in 5 years. So I had made the choice to really, like, look at myself and love myself so that I wasn't repeating those patterns.
Mhm.
And when I look at the relationship I want, I don't have an example
Mhm.
of the relationship I want that I know well, right? So it's like, okay, well, yeah, I know there's like this disconnect in between, like, what I want and what I would like it to feel like and look like. And not the specifics, but like the respect, the love, the fun, the playful, like those aspects, and then not having seen it. And then in the same way with my business, my whole life I've been a procrastinator. It's always worked so well for me. Actually, it like has worked really well for me in the sense that, like, I had, when I was working for someone else, I had a deadline. Things had to be done.
Mhm.
And I might sit and do it all in 36 hours and get it done on time, and it would be really good quality and it would be done on time. But now that I have my own business, that doesn't work, because I can just, like, kind of move that timeline or kind of do this, and I don't have like this pressure. And then um I'm not like planning things enough in advance to get like my workshop, like, to sell my workshops in time or to sell something in time. And so then I'm like landing things really late, and then I'm like going into this, oh, Kristen, why didn't you do this week?
How do both tie to each other? Because
It's the
you.
processes, because I don't, like, for me, I know it's done. Like, I know people have good relationships.
Mhm.
You have a beautiful relationship.
Mhm. Thank you.
Like, and I know that people have those, but I haven't been in in the,
So would you
how
say
it
it's
works for me.
it's going from the theory and the talking about it and sensing it and feeling it and letting it in into your field and then now bringing it into the practice?
Mhm. Yeah, because
Is
it's
that the gap that is between those two?
yes, and doing it for the way it works for me, because I can replicate the way someone else does it,
Mm-hmm.
but then it's not authentic. Then is it going against what feels right for me and my authenticity? So
Well, then
it's like
still
create something new.
Yes, exactly. So it's still if you replicate something that you've seen, which is usually in a relationship what we do, we witness our parents' relationship and we usually, copy their behavior because that's how we think we should behave in a relationship or from the people in general that we've seen around us. But you are trying to find your own way of doing a relationship, the Christian relationship.
Trying to find I okay, I want to switch, not trying to find. I am discovering and exploring my own way of doing it.
Mhm.
And in that, I sometimes feel like a toddler.
Well, that's yeah, I can understand that. But
In that,
are you
it's
doing it?
I am doing it. It's just
So you
the
went on a date?
oh no, I haven't gone on a date.
Oh,
I'm talking more about more
small
about
step, small step, Ghislaine, small step.
okay, if we're going straight into, I guess we're veering into the relationship aspect, not into the work aspect, which is fine.
Yeah,
No, that's okay. We could talk about that. No, because this is interesting too, and it actually goes into the work aspect as well,
Mhm.
because it's really looking at where I'm not being receptive.
Mhm.
And so looking at like really focusing on opening my receptivity every day. So without noticing, because I think for so many people, especially for myself, I can really only speak for myself, but we're like, yeah, I have an open heart. Yeah, I have this. And I do for the things I'm really comfortable with.
Mhm.
And so you can like have it's whole having both. I do have a really open heart and I am very loving and I am this and I can receive a lot, but it's in my comfort zones. It goes back to this comfort zone. And then when it's outside my comfort zone, then it's not as open and receptive.
Mhm.
It goes into like safety,
Contraction. Yes.
contraction. It's like and so what I've really been trying to, what I, not trying, you either do it or you don't do it. What I, what
Amen.
I am doing and choosing to do is to really open up to receptivity every day, to
Mhm.
the things that scare me, to the things, to my fears, to different opportunities, to relationships, romantic relationships, love
So you
relationships.
are stepping out of the comfort by leaning into the unusual.
Yes. And not in a like I'm searching, because I'm not searching for a relationship. I'm not like looking for a relationship. I would prefer to have a relationship in my life, but I'm not going to be in this energy of like searching for it, hunting.
Grasping and no, 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 no.
And I've explored the idea of going on dating apps, and that to me is just so repulsive that um like it's a big no for me. And I've asked, is it like a no because it's out of my comfort zone, or is it because I just don't like the way the apps feel?
Mhm.
And it's more about I don't like the way the apps, or maybe it's more about my previous experiences on them. But
Well, I don't know. I guess a tool is just a tool, and it's the way you step into it. So, well, you can or create your own app, yes, because I've heard this from many women actually that are, really in tune with. with their feminine nature. They don't like those apps because often it's just very much from a masculine, it's been created from a very masculine structure, you know, it's you like it or you don't like it, and then it is being the other person. Or so you can create your own app, or you can lean into it from your standards, from the intentionality that you bring into that. Because when you shift, it's always about you. Yes, we both know it's always about
Oh yeah.
us. Yes, so if you shift the way you enter a space, then the space will shift because you will no longer see all those things, which is the same for your work. And I mean, I know you don't you know this. I mean, I'm not
Sometimes
telling
it's
anything new,
funny
but
to
yeah.
have the reminder because when like when you sit in it, it's like being in the forest versus being outside the forest, right? It so
Hmm.
I'm not making my own app. Let's just be let's just clear that
Okay, just
at
before
least at this
everybody,
point
just
in time.
before you have already like 10 people signed up, I want to join, I want to join. We are not, Kristen is not making her own app, yes. So we
At
are
least at
offering
this
this idea
point in
to
time,
anyone
that's
that is listening.
not on the radar. I got other shit to do.
Yeah. But I also liked how you, well, no, but I like the way how you are also tying this up with how you do anything is how you do everything. So this is how you've been holding yourself, acting, behaving. I don't know, those are not really nice words, but this is how you've been. What did you say?
Doing life.
Yes, doing life within the relationship aspect, but you see the same pattern as in your work, in how you are trying to build your business, your company. Yeah.
Yeah, because right now it's really like, okay, that's worked for me in the past. It's not working anymore.
Mhm.
And this happens at every level of a journey, right? There's things that just no longer are working. And then it's okay, well, let's replace this system or the way we do something with something else. It's just right now I feel like it's so many of my like way. Like I feel like I'm at this place where I'm like massively shifting.
Mhm.
And in that, which is what I've been asking for,
Mhm.
right? Like, I'm done with this shit. I'm done with this level. Can I
Yeah.
go to the next one, please?
Well, what I'm hearing you say, and what I definitely also recognize in a very different way. This is funny because I experience the same in very different ways. But what I hear you saying is there is a new way of doing all things that is knocking at the door. And I'm going to talk about the soul and the human because this is the stuff that I am fully immersing myself in the different courses that I am doing at the moment. So your soul has brought you to a point where you feel, you sense that there are new things opening up, different ways of doing things. There is new frequencies coming in, new energies coming in, and this invitation to lean into what is next. And then there is the human, Kristen, that it's easier to talk about you than to talk about myself. This is amazing. So, and then there is the human, that is just really built to be safe, to feel comfortable, to get back to the old ways, just because it's freaking scary. And we can talk also to our clients. We can talk about, well, you just, need to trust, have faith, and lean in. But if it's on a path that you've never been on, because we are guiding people to, we are guiding people in parts of our lives that we've already stepped into. And that which we haven't stepped into yet is just really still challenging, which just makes us human.
Yeah, well, it's interesting, like with the soul, like and the human, I do a lot of work around soul stuff as, and I've also been connecting into my soul every day, twice a
Mhm.
day. Like in the morning, it's one of my practices, and in the evening, it's one of my practices.
Yes.
And um, and so I like I recorded a meditation for myself, and then I listened to my meditation in the morning and the evenings. And in that, it's really like shifted a lot for me in that. But with the fear aspect, it is fear, and it's also funny. Well, funny, not funny, but haha. That that we know when we're about to like teach something to someone else, that we go through our own whole layer of like next level, right? So
Mhm.
in this whole feeling of everything shifting and changing, I'm bringing a series on like shifting realities and making those big things. Well, of course, then I'm going through my next massive shift,
Yeah.
and the fear is there as a messenger of like, but and it's an illusion.
Okay, that's a big step. It's an illusion. What's the illusion?
Well, because whatever I'm making up as the fear
Yeah.
is not real.
No, it's made up by the mind because it
It's made
wants
up
to.
by my mind to keep me safe. So
Exactly.
it's a complete like it's like a masking that comes and is like, hey, this is not safe. This is scary. Like something bad could happen to you, like or whatever crazy shit we make up in our head. And then our body is like, oh yeah, I don't like that. Let's listen to this crazy talk up here. And it's not, none of it's true. But then it also like we're going in, but it also goes back to then our stuff from childhood,
Mm-hmm.
that fear of trying something new, or the fear of humiliation, the fear of rejection, judgment. But there also like there came a point where there's been many points, I think, along the way where I've been like realized, oh, like I'm done living my life from other people's bullshit. Like they don't have it figured out. I mean,
No.
we're all figuring it out. Like everyone, I think, like even the highest paid people in the world are still figuring stuff out. Like
Yeah.
no one, it's the perception they give off that they have all their shit figured out, but like really everyone's going through the same process on a different level.
Yeah, and I don't believe that it is the point of being human to have everything figured out because
No,
I believe also that the contrast that well that you are speaking of and that we are all experiencing, this is the human nature. We are meant to experience this. We are meant to ask ourselves those questions because otherwise we could just have state spirits, so to say. This is the purpose of the human experience. We want to live this. So it's a little, we're a little bit sadomasochist, which is in English. You understand? This is English, yes, or it is French? Sadomasochist.
that is
Like,
not a
okay.
alchemist.
Huh?
Alchemist,
No, no, no. It's when you sadomasochist, when you hurt yourself, when you
self
could.
sabotage.
Yes, self-sabotage is, well, sadomasochism is a little bit more psycho weirdo, but I'll look it up and I'll put it in the description. Yes, bear with me, bear with me. But yes, it's self-sabotage to,
Oh,
uh,
sadist.
yes, say this. That's the word. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Energetically came through. I'm like, I
What is
got
this baby talking about? Sadist, yes. It's a little bit sadist to well, what we are doing because we this earth experience. Yeah, we are in it, and oh, I lost my thread of thoughts.
I'm
because I
sorry.
lost my words. Yeah. Okay. Well, it ties up to what I was
Well,
saying.
in what you were saying is that it's the point of being on Earth.
Thank you.
Why we chose to be here, to evolve and learn and grow, as well as do our spirit, our whatever our purpose and missions are here. But like in that evolving, we are constantly growing. We're constantly shifting and changing. And there really is no being stuck. It's just choosing the same thing over and over and over again.
Exactly.
And in that, like, yeah, it's just looking at in each layer, there's another layer for me of like unpeeling and like understanding like this is not what I'm choosing anymore. Like I'm not choosing, this is not what I prefer, this isn't what I want, this isn't what I want to create, this isn't and then it's a deeper layer of seeing where I'm still living, even though, you know, like I might think I'm like, oh, I'm not living by other people's standards or other people's things. Like they're so conditioned in us that we are.
Yeah.
And we don't even see them because they're so conditioned until it's ready, until we're ready to say like, oh, that's still something I'm choosing. That's still something like that has been conditioned in me.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not choosing that condition anymore. I'm not choosing that life anymore. I'm not choosing those projections on what life should look like. And I think that's where it's like earlier I wrote down, where am I still viewing my life from other people's perspectives?
Mm-hmm.
Because even with like living at like not having a permanent home and living with family and traveling, or I started judging it. Like, oh God, like I really don't have my shit together. And what I realized was, whose opinion is that?
Yeah.
Because yeah, I don't have my own house right now, but I also don't feel I'm supposed to be in my own place right now.
Mm-hmm.
I was doing something with my niece the other day, and I realized I am literally exactly where I'm supposed to be.
Mm-hmm.
For whatever reasons, I don't need to know all the reasons. Like, but it was a moment where I was like, this is exactly where I'm supposed to be. So
Mm-hmm.
why am I looking at it from this perspective of, oh, I'm failing or not good enough because I'm living at I'm right now living at my brother's for this time or doing that. And when I realized like I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be, I was like, those are all other people's opinions that I'm making my own.
Mm-hmm.
Because if I wasn't supposed to be here, I wouldn't be here. And not like, because there's things that I am experiencing, there's things that I am learning, there are things I am doing, right? From being in other people's spaces that it is completely shifting and changing how I function in the world, and completely shifting and changing um like my perspective of relationships and how and family dynamics, because I have this beautiful opportunity to stay with other people's families, and I work with families.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's a different perspective from the teacher aspect where I was just mostly working with children and families but not in it, to now I'm staying with people who in their family dynamic and seeing it from a home perspective. So
Mm-hmm.
it was this like big like oh moment, and my judgment of it just fell away. And but it's still like, where am I looking at things from what other people are viewing my life as, or where am I still choosing from other people's projections? which is less and less. But it's more now like letting go of conditions that are still there.
I have been connecting to the same idea, but from the ideology of not having any attachments.
I've been playing with that too.
So and then attachments in all ways, in all the things that we have, uh, but also to the relationships that we have, to the love relationship, to whatever we think, also we think, all the attachment we have to the thoughts that we have, or the attachments that we have to the way we do things, or that any kind of attachments, because all those things we attach ourselves to, we bring energy to it, and it's we in it and to it, and it's in one sense it helps us figure out who we are because it's a reflection of ourselves. But then it also puts us in the box. Like you say, I'm that age. Am I supposed to be not living in Mahou at that age or whatever? I am supposed to having my own house, or my this judgment that comes that is not really yours, but there is still an attachment to it because it's so much around it. So I've been really playing with the idea, and that came up a little bit after the conversation that we had last week. So and like you are saying, all the conversations that we have, they started with the comfort zone, and they are tying into the being part of a group, and needing to go or wanting to go, wishing to go. And it turned now into this contemplation on what am I attached to, and why am I attached to that? I'm attached to the person that I am in that situation. I'm
Mm-hmm.
attached to the person that I am when I wear those earrings. And I really sense, I'm not going to use the word feel, because feel is like there's an emotion, but it's not an emotion, but there's this inner knowing, the sensing that when in moments I get a glimpse of how that's like, I fully let go of all attachments. There's the freedom for my soul to fully be present and to lead, because you want to lead yourself. You want to lead yourself in how you want to be a Christian in a relationship, how you want to be a Christian as a business owner, how you want to lead yourself. So yeah. So what are you attached to that is holding you back? Even the thought, for example, so my life's teacher has been food and my body, and the way I relate to food, the way food makes me happy, makes me glad, my mouth being filled with beautiful tastes. I have a food thing, yes, and that ties to the relationship I have with my body. But so I've been contemplating the idea of the fact that I attach value to how food makes me feel, how food tastes in my mouth, it's a mind fuck. It's a mind fart. It's a mind concept. It's just something that I am attaching, that I am attached to. I put value to it. But the
Mm-hmm.
truth of the matter is, it's it's it it's just something that I made up, that I'm attaching to, because it creates a part of my identity. Because who am I if I am not the Ghislaine that struggles with her body? Or the Ghislaine that loves food? Or the Ghislaine that creates weird food combinations to have all the taste in her mouth? Just a very, like,
Yeah.
small. Yeah.
Well, it's so interesting because I've also been exploring value, right, on
Mhm.
a deeper level. And just so everyone knows, we don't like talk about any of this stuff till we come together.
No.
We're just all going through the same shit at the same time. Different shit. Same shit, different experience.
Exactly, yeah.
Um, so I've been exploring value and like detachment as well. And in that, it's like, because for me, when I moved, I really went through that was a massive detachment from things for me.
Yeah.
Like, I went through like so many emotions, like getting rid of the things in my apartment that I had, some of them that I had had way too long, like, and that was my massive detaching from things. um and then even from like a location, that was detaching from a location, because I went through this whole like, oh my god, I'm gonna be homeless kind of, like, what does that mean about me? And so uh and interesting, because now it's like, what does it mean that I don't have a home, right?
Mhm.
So it's like the opposite side. But in the detachment, for me, it's really looking at detaching from, and in that, it's like detaching from who our identity of who we identify as, because that's not the truth of who we are in any aspect. It's an expression.
It's
Of,
noting of a part of yourself, yeah.
uh-huh. And it's not even a truthful expression of who we are as a soul, right? But like, because as a soul, it's not, has nothing to do with food, it has to do with pleasure and passion,
Yes, definitely.
and how you express and experience pleasure and passion.
Hmm.
But what I've been looking at a lot is detaching from those expectations, and this is something I've been playing with for a while, in that, like, that balance between having that desire and, or that preference of something, right? Because we have this like acceptance of what is and the gratitude of what is, and then this preference for what we're bringing in, and but not attaching to what it looks like, not attaching to like all those aspects that, as a person in a body,
Hmm.
like as a human, that we're like, oh, but I want it to look like this. And when it looks like this, there will be a nice white picket fence. I've never wanted a white picket fence, but like, or it will be like, like,
No, you
or,
do.
or,
Oh, no, you don't.
or
Yeah,
like, whatever it is, like getting stuck on this certain way, because when we get stuck on this certain way too, we limit all these possibilities because we can't see them.
exactly. We limit.
We're like
That's
this. We're like,
exactly
it
because
has
we
to look.
we we grab on we hold on to something, anything, and then we get
hyper
narrow.
hyper focused on one
Yes,
thing.
yes, yes, yes. We get hyper focused and we don't see the whole scala of possibility, which brings us back to what we started with, what you started with actually, about not particularly stepping out of your comfort zone, because there's this whole, it feels unsafe stepping out of the comfort zone, and a human is going to want to protect you, so it's going to hold you back from stepping out of your comfort zone. But just noticing the unusual.
Hmm. Yeah.
And just by stepping into this unusual, which is really, there's no a load of anything, no heaviness around that word. So just stepping into the unusual just makes it possible for you to open and see what is there.
Yeah. And one thing I've switched, like really switching like the way I perceive things.
Yeah.
So instead of like, I don't know, well, is that true? Like,
Mhm.
do I not know, or do I just not want to see it?
Mhm.
Or like, or looking at it from like, okay, well, if I did know, what would I do?
Yeah.
Because my soul already knows these answers.
Mhm.
Like my soul's like, we got this shit figured out. What are you doing down there? It's not really a
Well,
down there
play.
thing, but like my soul is like, hey, if you could just like check in, we could help you out a little more, which is which is why in that it's the connecting and then looking at, because even with shifting, like want, like, okay, I prefer this is the reality I want, right? But that one reality could look a million different things. Like it could look completely different in different options.
Yeah.
So even being like, okay, this is what I want it to feel like, for myself, like picking something extraordinary, like I want to have this life where I am just like full of joy, um 99% of the time, because we know we still are here on earth experiencing life. So um but looking at it from like, okay, well, what do I know, and is it relevant also in this situation?
Mm-hmm.
Because what I know might not be relevant anymore. And then, like, from here, what do I know from here? And then what do I know from here?
Yes.
Sorry, my mind versus, for people who are listening, what do I know from my mind versus what do I know from my heart and soul? Because
Yeah.
those are different things. Because my mind will always try to keep me safe.
Mm-hmm.
It will always tell me whatever lie I want to hear, subconsciously, consciously, to keep me safe. Whereas when I'm connecting into my heart will tell me the truth.
Mm-hmm. And yes, and then I'm gonna be the advocate of the devil, so to say a little bit. We also it's also important to the nervous system of the body doesn't like to all the time be shaken. So how can you find that place in your body where you know you are safe and you're still allowing all the wildness and the innovations of the soul and that the soul wants to bring into your body. So how to merge those ideas together, because the nervous system wants to be calm, because when the nervous system is calm you can lean much more into whatever the soul is bringing into your life. So you mentioned joy. I love that.
Mm-hmm.
I love that. Do it with joy, which also ties in a little bit into having an orgasmic life. Because within the whole ideology of Tantra and orgasmic life, you can transform pain into orgasms. If, like, I'm taking a shortcut here. But
Come together in how you choose to live. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So when you experience pain, say for example you are having a massage, yes? Do like a
Mm-hmm.
deep massage in your tissues. It's gonna be painful, especially if it's the first time you do it. And how can you in that moment let that pain be transported by your body and turn it into joy?
And in that, it's interesting because when you're talking about that, it's like knowing the threshold. It's the same thing of like knowing the threshold of
Yes.
where it's like on your nervous system wise too. It's like where like you can go to until it becomes too overwhelming for your body, too
Yeah.
overwhelming. Because you can only go as fast as your mind will kind of let you, um, and your body will let you before it's too overwhelmed.
Yes.
Um, so the shifting and changing and whatever aspects that are happening in your life are at the speed that your mind and your body are really allowing. Um,
Mhm.
and and in part of that, with that like pleasure in the, or like turning the pain into like pleasure, or turning the pain into that aspect, it's that same thing where like knowing where that line is and knowing how to transmute that.
Yes. And it's again just an invitation, stepping into the unusual. So normally you feel pain, you go into a negative emotion. So how can you, when you feel pain, see the possibility of that pain? Step into the unusual and step into the not automatic reaction. So the opposite from automatic reaction is going to be
Choice.
choice. Okay.
Well, if you are not, well, because automatic, you're not like you're choosing, but you're choosing unconsciously.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Whereas, like, so it's like a conscious choice to
Yeah.
transmute it, to move through it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I like that. Yeah.
Because anything that's automatic, we're not consciously choosing it. We're choosing it from an unconscious state.
Exactly. We're choosing it from a habit. We are choosing it from something that we identify with that supports us in having that reflection of who we are. Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah.
This is a juicy conversation here.
Woohoo!
Um, it's interesting because in that choice, and like also like for people listening, the difference between pain and suffering, because pain is not suffering.
No.
And so there's like we're not talking about the suffering, we're talking about the pain.
Yes.
And there is a difference.
Yes, there is
Suffering is a
definitely
choice, pain is like a physical reaction.
pinching. Being when you're
Like
being pinched, that's like pain. Yes, exactly. I speak a lot about that when when I go into workouts with my clients, because often when we haven't worked out for a very long time, the body gets stiff, and then you tend to feel pain in your body and think, oh, I don't want to go there because I don't want to hurt myself. But then there is you know, you need to go through the pain in order to really be able to feel your body, because again, it's the protection. Your body is going to protect you from feeling anything that isn't lovely, I'm going to say. Yes? And then when you get past that pain, that first pain, you are going to be able to differentiate the pain and the suffering. So my body is suffering because there is really something wrong in my knee, my joint, or my whatever. Or my body is experiencing pain because it hasn't done a squat for like 10 years. That's a very big difference. And so, well, for me, as this is my automatic reaction, I like have everything pass through my body and see what happens. Well, not everything. Oh, this sounds weird. Wait a second. But yes, for me, is the
maybe also looking at if that is because the wording everything passes through my body, maybe you need to look at like because you don't need other people's emotions, you don't need all those things passing through your body.
no, you don't. Well, that's maybe another conversation because that happens as well. I mean, I am
I guess
receptive to other people's emotions and to other people's frequencies and what they bring into the world. But that's a different conversation. But it's the second time I forget my line of thought.
well
And
that's
more.
in that just a quick note, that's the difference though in like awareness versus experiencing it.
Mm-hmm.
Because you
Yeah,
can have that you can have all the awarenesses of it without having to physically experience it.
exactly. Exactly. Yeah.
um but yeah, such an interesting conversation.
Hmm.
I don't even like I'm like how do we summarize this?
Well, I really like the invitation of stepping into the unusual,
Yeah,
because it gets there's no negativity around it. It's just it's unusual, so it's kind of surprising. It can, you know, it's a little bit taking you. It's not going to take you off guard. It's just unusual. Unusual is a very, I'm gonna say plain word because there's no strong emotion to it. Well, not for me, and I hear not for you. So I'm curious, anyone listening or watching us, is that true that the word unusual doesn't have a load shit of association with it? And that you can use that word to step outside of the usual things that you are doing, just to experience the unusual, and thanks to that experiencing of the unusual, leading yourself to fantasticness. That's not a word, but we are creating a
Make
new.
up our own words.
Yeah, we make up fantasticness. Okay, let's go for it.
Well, I also like you mentioned like letting like surprise, and I love that idea of like how can you step into the unusual and how can you let yourself be surprised, because it does take releasing this need to control a lot of things, and this need to being able to like, I don't want to use the word need.
Mm-hmm.
But well, I guess it is in that sense a need to control,
Mm-hmm.
but in the sense of like, how can you let yourself be surprised by life
Mm-hmm.
by stepping into the unusual?
Yes.
Because isn't it like this, like, oh, I feel excited just like saying it. Like, how can you let yourself be surprised by life? Because what if?
Mm-hmm.
Like, what are the endless
Exactly. What is?
possibilities?
Yeah.
What if, like, the other day it came to me uh as like this idea of like create all the random ridiculous ways that let's say, oh, I mean, this is make $1 million. Like
Yeah.
the most ridiculous, like, and the one that's popping in my head right now, like a unicorn brings it, like just ridiculous. But like, what if? Not
I
that
was,
that's
yeah, I was thinking about selling my socks, but okay.
no, but I mean, like, because it doesn't have to be logical.
No, exactly.
It's
Exactly. It's the unusual, something you wouldn't think about. Let yourself be surprised by the unusual thought and the unusual ideas. And yeah, get it,
and it
step.
could be absolutely like it's bringing that childlike joy and curiosity back into it, right? Because kid children are not afraid of things a lot of the times until adults create the fear
Yes.
a lot of times, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, but like, what if? What like let life surprise me. Ooh,
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna let life surprise me. Life surprise me, please. And by stepping into the unusual,
Mm-hmm.
stepping into the new, stepping into like and really looking at, it's interesting too because it's coming through as like when you're saying um like I tell myself things when things come up, I'm like, that's not true.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like when I get scared, I'm like, that's not true. That's like, that's not like creator, God, source, universe, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's not true. God, like creator wouldn't do that. That's not true.
That's
My soul wouldn't
very
choose
nice.
that. Um, and even looking at like in that identity aspect of who we are, like who said that?
Mm-hmm.
It's not true. That's not who I
Mm-hmm.
am. That's not like, who said that? Because I say this to myself too. Who made that shit up?
Mm-hmm.
I say that all the time. I'm like, or even like different. This is a whole nother tangent, but like, and this is in your realm, but like, who said like the food pyramid or this or that or that? Like, who decided or breakfast is the most important meal of the day or like certain things? I'm just
That's
saying.
marketing. That's
I
marketing, but
know,
let's not
I
go there.
know, but that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Who made that shit up?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Because most
No,
of the
actually, which
why it's true.
idiots made that shit up? Yeah.
Yeah, because but most of the things we buy are it's true. Someone made that shit up.
Well, actually, it's someone that made it up, someone that believed it, someone that followed it, and many ones that followed after that.
Yeah.
That's what it is. It
One
just
person had an idea and
yeah.
then marketing to sell something,
Mhm.
and then it just like, and now it's like a worldwide thing that people say like breakfast. No, it's not. It's a lie.
Yeah.
So I just walk through life. I'm like, who said that shit? That's not true.
I'll do whatever I want because who said that shit? I like
But
it.
like, but and there are layers of truth for everybody.
Mhm.
And like, so it's just unfolding. Like what we think is true today might not be true for us tomorrow.
Mhm. Yeah.
The whole, anyways, it's a whole nother rabbit hole. So now that we've left everyone all stirred up, the question is,
Stop
now
having
that we've triggered so many things, we just wanted to poke the bear everywhere.
bye.
We're gonna leave and go come back next week with a whole new layer of stuff. But how can you step into the unusual,
Yes.
and how can you let life surprise or
Let
let
yourself. I wrote it down. You said it beautifully a few sentences ago, and I wrote it down. Let yourself be surprised by life by stepping into the unusual.
perfect
That's the invitation for this week.
what she said a little while ago.
What what she said a little while ago and what I wrote down and I repeated just now. Okay, perfect. Thank you very much, Kristen. I loved our conversation.
Love you.
Bye. Bye, everybody.
See you next week.